Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another video. And today I would like to share my thoughts on the 2024 Game Awards nominees, which of course these were all announced the other day, but even prior to that, Jeff Keighley made a statement amending his own rules, making it so that DLC, remakes, and remasters would be eligible for all awards. And as you can see, Elden Ring, The Shadow of the Erdtree has been nominated not just for Game of the Year, but I know RPG of the Year, and maybe even some other categories, who knows. And that's causing quite a controversy for a number of people. Personally, I don't really give a fuck, because I'm going to explain later why the Game Awards are complete bogus to begin with. But in a just society, they would make a whole nother award for it. They can do DLC of the Year award, and I'm sure there's 5 or 6 other quality DLC. You can put them up against Elden Ring. Elden Ring can win another award. Fair enough. It's a great game. It won the Game of the Year back in 2022, I believe, and the DLC should get recognition, but it's not the Game of the Year when it just makes no sense. You have to play the base game, Elden Ring, first to even unlock the DLC. Like, you can't just buy the DLC and play it from the get-go. You have to play the regular game first. So it's just fucking stupid, because there's so many other, like, even the other 5 games nominated here. I'll just scroll down because you can't even see Metaphor, but Metaphorie Fantasio has been nominated. They're better than Elden Ring. One of those 5 games should win. I mean, but putting that all aside, get rid of Elden Ring and put another JRPG up there, like a Dragon Infinite Wealth or Unicorn Overlord, or, because you mentioned it, Jeff, remakes and remasters, Tsukihime and Fate Stay Night Remaster, because I'll tell you what, Fate Stay Night Remaster, despite being a 20-year-old game, is my personal game of the year, but it's not up for anything. They should make a visual novel category as well, but that ain't happening, because the average normie watching this show, the Game Awards, doesn't know what a visual novel is. It has no attention span for it. Regardless, my main issue is the fact that our vote means nothing in the whole Game Award process because of the jury, we'll put in quotes, which people were saying on Twitter that they scrubbed it from the website, but I did find it on the website. We're going to go through the jury. It's all the usual suspects, a bunch of has-beens like IGN, who I don't even know who watches IGN. Every time I see an IGN article or one of the reviews posted on Twitter, it's quote tweeted to hell. Just recently, Dragon Age The Veilguard, one of the shittiest games that released this year, full of all sorts of propaganda, getting high praise from IGN, and then other YouTubers, much bigger than myself, obviously, are ratioing them. And when it comes to the jury and influence, I would say the average YouTuber who has, 100,000 subscribers or whatever, doesn't even have to be that many, it could be 50,000 subscribers, has more sway nowadays than fucking IGN. I mean, what are we talking about, guys? But anyway, let's go over here and I'll show you the award process. So there's a whole thing here. How are nominees selected? Nominees for most categories of the Game Awards are chosen by an international jury of over 100 global media and influencer outlets, selected for their history of critical video game evaluation. Specialized juries also convene for other categories, including esports, accessibility, and best adaptation. Each voting outlet completes a confidential, unranked ballot. It's like secret voting going on here. Backdoor voting. It's insider trading. Based on the collective and diverse opinion of its entire editorial staff, listing out its top 5 choice in each category. Is there more down there? Ballots are tabulated, and the 5 games that appear on the most ballots are put forth as nominees. In the event of a tie, 6 or more, nominees will be announced in a category. Game Awards producer Jeff Keighley is not a member of the jury and does not vote on nominees or winners. Similarly, the Game Awards Advisory Board has no involvement in the awards process and learns of the results at the same time as the general public. Fucking bullshit. What are you talking about there? Why do you use this jury for select nominees? Given the sheer number of games released each year, as well as the extended time required to fully evaluate products, a voting outlet approach allows for the widest possible critical assessment. A ballot submitted to the Game Awards represents the collective opinion of an entire outlet. And here's the important thing. How are the winners selected? Winners are determined by a blended vote between the voting jury, 90%, and public fan voting, 10%. Fans can vote for their favorite games on the GameAwards.com, and China fans vote for winners via Bilibili. Voting closes Wednesday, December 11th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So, 90-10. We mean nothing. Our vote means absolutely fucking nothing in this whole thing. It's such bullshit. So, here's their bullshit reason why. Why don't fans 100% select the winners? Creating a 100% fan vote presents several challenges. First, given that some games are exclusive to one platform, a public vote puts single-platform games at an inherent disadvantage over multi-platform titles. In addition, it is important that winners cannot be socially engineered in any way. We find that a blended vote is the most credible and authentic way to select winners. Fucking bullshit, man. Get the fuck out of here. This is true. Let's see this. Are voting outlets given free or advanced copies of games? They absolutely are. At the start of the awards season, game publishers and developers are provided with access to a list of outlets that submit nomination ballots. While most of our voting outlets have access to games through the normal editorial process, publishers and developers are permitted to provide review copies or digital redemption codes. To meet our balloting deadlines, publishers or developers may provide advanced or pre-release access to games for critical evaluation. That's all fucking bullshit. Those people, they all give you a bullshit review so they can keep getting their free review copies. It's such a stupid cycle that, you know, this entire ecosystem has created, and there's really no stopping it. That's why I'm more inclined to take the review of someone who has 1,000 subscribers more seriously than IGN. What is the cutoff date for eligibility? Games eligible for Game Awards this year must be available for public consumption on Friday, November 22nd, 2024. So, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You want the game to be out. You don't want the game to release a week before the voting takes place. That, I will say, makes sense. So, okay, Jeff, you get a win there. And the other stuff, I really don't care about. This is the other thing. Are DLCs, expansion packs, and remasters eligible? The Game Awards aims to recognize the best creative and technical work each year, irrespective of the format of that content's release. Expansion packs, new game seasons, DLCs, remakes, and remasters are eligible for all categories if the jury deems the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. Factors such as the newness of the content and its price value should be taken into consideration. Well, then why didn't you consider Fate Stay Night? $30 fucking for one of the most epic visual novel experiences you'll ever get. Okay, so now let's take a look over at the voting jury so you can see the clowns in charge of not only nominating all these games for the various awards, but selecting them to win eventually. And it is a doozy, that's for sure. So right away, half these I don't even know. Like Easy Allies, aren't they a YouTube channel? So we actually do have a YouTube channel in here, but right away this catches my eye. Entertainment Weekly, which is in the same category as, you know, People Magazine, the trashy celebrity gossip magazines you see at the checkout in the grocery store. Why the fuck do they have sway in selecting the Game Awards? Like, it makes no sense. They should be doing their Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie gossip, not video games. Fucking posers. So we have that. This other, like, none of these things. GamesBeat, never even heard of it. GameSpot, I have heard of. IGN, of course, a bunch of has-beens. The Jeff Gertzman Show. Literally who? Like, who the fuck is this guy? Put Zubitech on here. I bet he'd love to be a part of it. Kinda funny. The LA Times. Like, this is a fucking newspaper. I mean, it'd be one thing. I didn't see Bloomberg on there, but, you know, that Jason Schreier, another scumbag. But even he would have more credibility than having the LA Times. Who's representing the LA Times over here? And then we have the New York Times, Wirecutter, PC Gamer. I guess PC Gamer is one that kind of makes sense. Pride? Like, what? Polygon? Surprising not to see Kotaku on this list, but I think even Kotaku is too woke for the Game Awards. Rolling Stone, which, that's a magazine that deals with music. Again, what do they have to do with video games? The Atlantic? I'll never forget the Atlantic always did these outlandish headlines about Donald Trump. Like, he's going to be impeached and imprisoned any second now. Just you wait, Blue Anon. NPR. You know, my tax dollars fund NPR. a complete waste of money. No one watches or listens to NPR, Variety. Again, a bunch of nobodies who were somebodies way back when, you know, in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. But now, no one gives a fuck about what these people say. People care more about what I'm saying right now than these old legacy media outlets. I remember seeing a Eurogamer article earlier in the year talking about that Expedition 33 game, which is going to release, I think, in 2025. Game looks like complete dog shit, by the way. I should do a whole ranting and raving with Kevin episode explaining myself further, but their article was basically summarizing how Expedition 33 is going to reinvent turn-based RPGs. And all I thought was, you know, Eurogamer, did you miss all the great turn-based RPGs that released earlier this year and even over the past decade? I mean, we get so many great turn-based RPGs lately, it's insane. And even talk about reinventing things. How about not just Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, but prior to that, Yakuza Like a Dragon, turning the iconic Yakuza series into turn-based RPGs. So Eurogamer doesn't know dog shit about what they're talking about. Games Radar, what else is even here? The Guardian. My God, these things don't even talk about fucking video games. The Guardian. So I just want to find the Japanese members of the jury because I went over the American and the European ones, and the others I'm not familiar with, so I can't really rant about them too much. I'm sure they're all as much bullshit as the other ones, but the Japanese publications are not as bad as the rest. I mean, you got Famitsu and things like that, so that's good. But, you know, the jury, it's just complete nonsense, as we already explained with Game of the Year. Before I end this video, I guess I have a couple more points about the Game of the Year nominees. And I do get where these nominees are coming from, because you do want to have different genres. If it were me nominating the Games of the Year, they'd all be JRPGs, and then I'd throw Tsukihime and Fate Stay Night in there for good measure, because, I mean, Jeff Keighley did make that amendment allowing remasters to be eligible, didn't he? And Fate Stay Night is my Game of the Year, but I digress. You see the list here. You have Astrobot, which is a platformer. Balatro, which I have no idea what it is. As the image implies, I guess it's a card game. Is it poker or blackjack? It sure as hell isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! But what's next? Next year they'll nominate Tetris for Game of the Year? I wouldn't be surprised. Black Myth Wukong is like the action-adventure, kind of has Souls-like elements. The Asterisk DLC, I mean, this shouldn't even be included. It's got the asterisk on it, especially if it wins. But, again, just make a separate category for DLC of the year. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as a JRPG, which, you know, he mentioned DLC, remakes, remasters. And we had Final Fantasy VII Remake. But if you play through these games, they're kind of reimaginings, almost sequels to the original Final Fantasy VII, so, you know, it counts. And then, of course, the other JRPG, Metaphori Fantasio, as my buddy Game Night likes to say, and I like to say it too. Now, of these 6 games, the only one I played was Astrobot, and I loved Astrobot, and it definitely should be nominated for Game of the Year, but it shouldn't win Game of the Year. It's not Game of the Year. I wouldn't nominate this. I don't give a fuck that it's an indie game. The indie darling, it has a good Metacritic score. This does not belong. I don't give a fuck. It does not belong. Black Myth Wukong, I know everyone loved it, but I would personally swap it with Stellar Blade because they have similar styles and that they're action-adventure, Souls-like elements. But with Stellar Blade, you get the smoking hot waifu Eve. And just recently, they announced the Nier Automata DLC where you can have Eve dress up in 2B's outfit, look up her skirt, and goddamn! All I'm waiting for now is for Shift Up to make the Goddess of Victory Nikke console game so I can see a full 3D version of Anis. That's all I want. Please and thank. This game does not belong. Just get rid of it. And like I said, put Tsukihime or Fate Stay Night there. And then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Metaphori Fantasio can stay. And then, again, I throw in like Unicorn Overlord or Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. But just to see, this is even more hilarious to me on Metacritic. How the fuck do they bump Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree up to number... I get, look, they're all 94. But on this list here of the aggregate, it's number 1. What the fuck is going on here? There's so much bias for Elden Ring. It's unbelievable. This might have to do, now that I think about it more, maybe there's more reviewers. And because there's more reviewers, it makes the score higher. That could be the case, but I don't, like, it's fucking DLC, man. There's also Final Fantasy XIV, which of course is an ongoing MMORPG that receives expansions. I don't know how frequently it does, whether it's every 6 months or once a year, every couple of years, but I do know it received the Dawn Trail expansion relatively recently, and that added a new story arc, job classes, things of that nature, and of course deserves to be reviewed, as does Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. However, I find it disrespectful that the same score, but it's placed above brand new games such as Astrobot and Metaphor. It doesn't sit well with me when this is just an expansion of a pre-existing game. These are brand new games, so just my 2 cents. Although it's still good to see such high scores, and they are considered games of the year, referring to Astrobot, Metaphor, and Final Fantasy. You have the godforsaken indie shit, which, again, I have no idea how this scores so highly. You couldn't pay me to play indie shit, but I guess there is a demographic for them, as we saw with Balatro, a poker-inspired roguelike deck builder. Oh, I can't wait. There's this nonsense, the Last of Us Part 2 remaster, which, how many fucking times are they going to remaster all these games? They remaster, well, first of all, they had Last of Us 1 was a PS4 game. Then they made like an enhanced port on the PS5. Then they did the whole remaster. Then same thing with Last of Us Part 2, where I think it was on the PS4 and PS5, and then they made another remastered version. It's like, who's playing this shit? It just seems like a very forced franchise. I'll never understand the appeal. I tried to play the first one on the PS4. I fucking hated it, but somehow it has this cult following. I know most people understood the second game sucked dick, but you still have people like the Shills here, must play, winner of over 300. Oh my god, it won all these awards. I don't give a fuck. It's terrible. The show's terrible too, by the way. More indie shit. Tekken 8, that's cool to see that. Destiny 2, which, is that kind of like Fortnite, where you might have to pay for it in the beginning, but it gets all these updates. I know it's a shooter. There's Tsukihime. Oh, it's so great to see. I remember when it first came out, though, it was higher. It was at like a 91. Someone bumped it down. That's kind of disappointing. Horizon. And even Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth at an 89. That's pretty solid, man. Like, the fact that that's not considered for a game of the year, and you have some indie nonsense poker game. What does this world come to? But also Castlevania. These are DS remasters. But anyway, so Tsukihime. Fate Stay Night should be up here as well. Oh, and here's Paper Mario and Persona 3 Reload. But you see, titles of fewer than 7 critic reviews are excluded because Fate Stay Night has the same score. You see, you have Tsukihime. It has 8 critic reviews, and Fate Stay Night only has 5. But you see, they're both at 89s. They should be up for something, is all I'm asking. I think Game of the Year, but if you want to put like narrative, make a new category for visual novel, give them the recognition they deserve. That's all I'm asking for. If the Game Awards is all about, oh, the inclusion, we got to nominate content creators no one's heard of, you know, include this shit too, please. Like, is it that difficult to ask for? But anyway, I've gone on long enough. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Everybody have a great day, and peace out.
99.